Hi, in this lecture we will proceed with how to predict a continuous variable. So by meaning, what we are going to practically see is regression models. Regression models can be of two different types. One is linear models and non-linear models. So we will be sticking to the linear models basically because non-linear models are quite complicated and the algorithms are not completely automated and easy to use. So linear models are the one which is widely used as well. So there is nothing harm in it to first learn linear models. First, let's understand what is linear when I say linear equation. So this problem, what we are going to see is a problem of predicting the house prices. This is one of the classical problems which was even hosted in a Kaggle competition. Okay, Kaggle is an online website which runs data science related competitions. This was almost 4 years back. Kaggle first ran this competition, and this problem of house price prediction became popular. Okay, so what I mean by house price prediction? It is very simple. Like for any house for sales, we will know the house will be for some area. The house will have for a particular area in some units. Say for example square feet, and the price will be quoted for that house. So here there are going to be two parameters. One is x and one is y. X is the input and y is the output. This is how we are going to treat this particular inputs. So for different values of x, there are going to be different values of y. This data set we are going to be provided with. So this is a kind of linear relationship, directly proportional we can consider, because as the area of house increases, the price also increases. That's an obvious relationship what we can infer just by knowing the variables alone. So when I am going to plot some values in a graph with two axes, we will be able to plot these two values x and y. Say for example, I'll consider simple numbers 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. So I've taken 4 different points. In this case, x values here and y values here, and I'm going to plot 1, 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and across here let me put 2, 4, 6, 8. So 1, 2 I will plot it here, 2, 3 somewhere here, 4, 5 somewhere here, and 6, 8 somewhere here. And when I am going to try and join all these points together, let me try to draw a straight line. Trying to undo it. When I undo this line, let me try to draw a straight line. Okay, so when I'm going to draw a straight line, my data is represented with a equation. This equation which models this line is called as linear equation or a linear model, which in turn is going to be our machine learning model as well. So now, is drawing this line that complicated? That is what we are going to understand. So first let me say, I did not draw this line straight away. In this case, it might occur to you I have just drawn this line by visually. Humans are better at joining lines, but for a computer program to identify this straight line is not that easy. So that is the process we are going to define inside our machine learning algorithms, which is already in fact defined. So what it is going to do is, there is going to be a process called as optimization which is going to happen inside my algorithm, specifically regression algorithm, and this optimization is required in many other places. In this case, the optimization algorithm is going to be called as gradient descent. Okay, so this gradient descent is one of the algorithm which is going to optimize and find my perfect line. So if virtually I'm going to draw multiple lines, or I'm going to identify the perfect line, what will be the usual approach is trial and error approach. So in trial and error approach, I can draw multiple lines across this quadrant. So this is one of the positive quadrant between x and y. I can draw innumerable lines between this quadrant, right? So when I am going to consider multiple lines in this quadrant, I need to find which is the perfect line. So there needs to be a rule defined. We can define a simple rule. Wherever or for whichever line the error is minimal, then we will take that line as the correct line. So for example, I will consider multiple lines. Okay. For sake of simplicity, I will consider only 2 lines. I will ignore even the first line. In this case, let me try to calculate the actual point. So x is going to be actual point, and this dot I will take it as predicted point. So right now, where is the predicted point? Whatever line that is going to drop on my drop between my actual and the predicted line, this I am going to treat it as predicted point. So say if I am going to take all my predicted values, all my predicted points. So this has got little bit extended, and this is where my predicted points are going to be there. Now this is going to have a certain distance, right? There is going to be some distance 1, d2, d3 for all the points. Say p1, p2, p3. Now these distances are nothing but error values. Okay. So the error value, now we can quantize it as summation of y minus y hat. So this is going to be actual minus predicted. This is going to give me the total error value, and our objective will be to minimize this error quantity. So this will be I equal to 1 to n for all possible lines. The total, the actual minus predicted, is going to be giving, this also can be called as cost function. Okay. So the cost function is the total error incurred, and for whichever line my value is going to be minimal, that is the line I am going to pick, or that is the line going to be my actual model. Okay. So now to finding this minimize is a simple task if we are going to visualize it. Again, in the visual system, like when I am going to observe it, I can say this is the line whichever is closer to, and there is less error. But for the model to find, we need to analyze this cost function and identify the minimum value. So there are algorithms written to identify this minimum value. That algorithm is what just I mentioned, that is called as gradient descent. So in the gradient descent module, if there is only 2 values, like in this case, just the area and the output price, then we can easily calculate the minimum value, the quantity with minimum error. So how this will actually be in output is, here I will consider the cost function, and this is going to be my error. So this is the iteration. So this is the iteration, meaning whichever line we are going to take, and this will not be the cost function, this I will take it as cost function. Cost function is nothing but the error. So I just interchange the axis. Here I will take iteration, and here it will be cost function. So for every change in iteration, my cost function is going to keep on decreasing, and after a point my cost function or error will increase. How this will happen? Just observe these lines. As the line starts coming closer by to the actual point, my error is going to reduce, and after crossing this point, the number of lines, once it starts increasing, again my error value will keep on increasing. That is the intuition. As the iteration keeps on increasing, the cost function also increases. Okay. So when I have got this plot of this gradient descent plot, whichever point is the minimum across this axis, then I will choose that as the best fit model, or I will take the parameters of this particular equation. So when I have arrived at this best fit model, this will contain an equation and this equation will contain certain parameters. Okay, these parameters is going to give me a line equation. So how a line equation will be? F of x equal to b0 x0 plus c. This is a line equation for a straight line. This b0 is what we identified with this model. This b0 is nothing but the parameter, and this parameter is identified with help of this optimization method. Okay, once we have got this, now for any future value of y, we can easily replace, for any future value of x, we can easily replace in this equation and identify the out. So in this case, x is going to be our area, and I can replace the area value and identify the y output of price. So as my area is going to change, I can substitute that area and find the, say if I am going to calculate the area between 3 and 4. So what will happen? For the given value of x, I can substitute in this equation line and calculate the price value. So this value is going to be my required price output. Okay, so this is an example for simple linear equation, simple linear regression with just two variables. If the number of variables is going to increase, then the approach is going to differ slightly. Not the approach, just the function or equation will differ, but in the code or in the implementation we will not need to do any changes. It is going to be still the same. So the number of parameters actually going to increase. So b0 x0 plus b1 x1 plus b2 x2 plus it keeps on going until bn xn plus c, which is the intercept. So in this case, x0 is area. So that is what we considered as area here. These can be some other parameters now, like number of rooms in the house, garden area. Then what else it can be? It can be state, city, or something else. So likewise, each and every column, each and every parameter is going to be of some other additional input to our equation, whatever we have, and these parameters will be again identified with help of our gradient descent algorithm. Once the parameters are identified, that will be replaced in the equation. To predict any future value, we will just replace x, x0, x1, and then we can predict the output y. Okay, this is no more a line equation. This will become a planar equation. So a plane will be can be considered as something. It will become a multi-dimensional shape. It will not be a single dimension. It will become a multi-dimensional shape in the mathematics. So we can visualize only up to 3 dimensions. After 3 dimensions, we will not be able to visualize it. So that is the reason we did not have any graphical representation here, but that is how internally the parameters and numbers will be treated. Okay, so now let's see the code implementation for this. Okay, so this is a simple implementation, not so complex. First we will try to understand what is the data we are going to consider in this problem. So here it is not the same house price problem. I have taken it here. I have taken a slightly different problem with just two simple variables. So the variables considered here are present in the file wc-at.csv. Before that, I am importing the libraries numpy and pandas, and I am reading the input file. So let me check the column names with the command wcat.columns. Once I execute it, this gets imported and then gives me the wcat.columns output. Since I did not use print statement, the output did not come here. So once I execute it, it says two different column names, waste and at. So there are two columns, waste and at. Now what this data is, this is a medical parameter. Waist is the waist size of any human being, and AT is the adipose tissue quantity. So adipose tissue is quantified tissue that is present around the waist of human being. So this gives us an idea. Has someone's waist differ, the AT tissue is also going to differ. Sorry, as someone's waist differ, the waist tissue AT is also going to differ, and that is going to contain a proportional ratio, meaning it's going to be a direct relationship. As the waist size increases, AT is going to increase, but how much that is going to increase is what we are going to model with this linear relationship equation. So to identify that, we will import, we'll just go ahead and visualize our data and see how much the data are related to each other, and then finally build our equation and predict it. These are the next sequence of steps that we are going to do. So to visualize this, I am using a library called as PLT, matplotlib.pyplot as PLT with an alias name, and I am drawing a box plot. This is not mandatory portion, but just I am trying to infer an idea how my data is present, how my waist data is present. So there will be basically 5 different values will be the output of this box plot. So those 5 different values are represented by this diagram. Those 5 values are nothing but the waist is one single quantity that is represented in x-axis, and there is going to be minimum value, maximum value, median, first quartile and third quartile. First quartile is between the minimum and median, the middle value is going to be third quartile. Between the median and maximum, the middle value is going to be called as third quartile. Right? So these values together are converted into an image, and that is plotted. So this box is the area in which our data is mostly located, and we will be able to observe this when we compare it with the x-axis. So between 80 to 100 is most of our data present, most of our waist information is present. So that is the inference this particular box plot gives, and this will be useful for this purpose as well. Next, I am going to plot a scatter diagram. Just plot x and y as we drew on pen and paper. I am going to show it in the form of a graph here. So it's just plt.plot x values, y values, and this argument stands for blue dotted lines. X label is waist, y label is AT. So this is the definition of this particular function, and this is how the plot occurs. So waist, AT quantity, and the x comma y is plotted. It's quite clear from the graph itself. The points are, the values keeps on increasing as the x increases, y also increases. Now our goal is to find and fit the best fit model. Okay. So we'll draw the regression line finally. Now there is a small statistical measurement which is optional, we can decide to do. That is called as correlation. A correlation is going to define how much 2 variables are related. So a correlation can be understood as the relationship between 2 different variables. The range of correlation is between -1 to +1. +1 meaning it is strong positively correlated, -1 meaning it is strong negatively correlated. So there are 2 different ways in which correlation quantity or the correlation coefficient is the number that can be calculated. I will use this np dot correlation coefficient. This is from the library NumPy, and which 2 variables needs to be correlated. This is going to give me a value of 0.81. So these 2 variables are compared with one another. So first one, WCAT is compared against WCAT itself. Then that will have a maximum value. Same for AT against AT, this value. So we will have to take the values across this diagonal. That value is going to be 0.81, meaning it is mostly positive value. 1 is perfect positive correlation, so it is nearby 1. It is in fact a positive correlation. So the relationship is stronger. There is a strong relationship between waist and AT tissue. That is what this correlation coefficient inference is giving us. Now we will proceed ahead with building our model or the equation. So this one line does the job. This line does the heavy lifting of building the model. So to do that, we have to import this statsmodels.formula.api as SMF. So what this does is SMF.OLS. OLS stands for ordinary least squares. This is the equation or function which is going to identify our parameters. Identify our parameters in the line equation. And the equation inputs and outputs has to be defined inside this as a string value. AT is the output, tilde symbol, and then the inputs. First, so whenever we are going to OLS, the first value should be the output which we are going to predict. So here AT is being treated as output, tilde value, and the input quantities. So waste is the input quantity here. And what data frame in which this data is present? WCAT. This is the data frame to which we read all the values into. So I am giving data equal to WCAT dot fit. Only when we give dot fit method, this parameters will be computed. So let me select this and execute. Once I execute this, my model parameters are computed and this is the value we get. So in model parameters, just two values will be shown, not the complete thing. Only the intercept and waste coefficient, meaning the beta value. If you recollect, go back and see the equation, we would have mentioned something called beta. This beta is the parameter that we have computed and C is the intercept that is calculated also. After this, we can decide to read the complete summary as well. So the complete summary is somewhat printed in this manner. So how to read this table? Not all the variables are important here, just few things which needs to be noted that I will mention. The most important thing what we have to observe is R squared and adjusted R squared. R squared is the error value. Remember, we subtracted y minus y cap. The actual minus predicted we subtracted and we treated it as a cost function. Now the average of total cost function of the model whatever got selected is called the R squared. This is the sum of errors present. R squared is the term which we will term it as RMSE or root mean squared error. So RMSE is the term that is mentioned here as R squared. And this value, if it is going to be 0, then there is no error at all in the system. That is a perfect equation. So as it is between 0 to 1, or it can take any value greater than 0, since it is just little higher than 0, then we can assume this to be a better model. Okay, so R squared, when we will be able to compare R squared is only when we are going to build multiple models, then we can compare this R squared of one model with another model to arrive at which is the best fit model. But in this case, this best fit model has an R squared error of 0.67. That is one understanding we need. Adjusted R squared is nothing but the rounded values from R squared. This is an approximate quantity from R squared and this is a smooth equation we can consider at. This will definitely be almost equal or lesser than the R squared error, and if we are confirmed by observing this adjusted R squared, then it is good to go. Only these two values are most important. Okay. Then next thing what we have to observe is this particular table what comes here. This table is an important table which is going to represent which variables are actually related to our model and what we need to consider. The hint will be given in the form of p-value. If the p-value is less than 0.05, so this is actually a kind of hypothesis test, and that hypothesis values is what presented here. This can be either a sample t, this can be a simple t-test or some other hypothesis test. Mostly it would be a ANOVA test. Okay, so that kind or type of test we will have it in some other we can look it at some other time, but this is a hypothesis test and this p-value is going to define whether we can include this variable or we have to exclude that variable. As long as that p-value is lesser than 0.05, then we can consider this parameter. If this p-value is going to be greater than 0.05, then we have to consider eliminating this variable and then rewriting this equation. Suppose say if my waste is going to be greater than 0.05, then it is better that I remove waste from this equation, in this model equation, and consider using some other input. Instead of weight, I can go with some other input, maybe a height of an individual, weight of an individual, or something else. We can put it here and then see if my model is going to be better this time. Okay, so this is the idea behind checking the p-value. And this also gives skewness, kurtosis, all those descriptive parameters whatever we saw before, and there are additional quantitative measures also gets calculated by default. Okay, so once read about these things, we can check that, or it is of very little significant when we build a regression model. Okay, so once the summary, everything is read, we'll come to the model predict part. So we have built the model, we have finalized this model, has very little error and it is good to go. The ultimate purpose of building the model is to predict further values, predict any future values or unknown values. That is the reason we are building the model itself at first place. So here, if I am going to give any other house area, I will be able to calculate the price here. I will be able to tell the future what will be the price for this house and so area. Okay, so how we can give this is going to be a one-dimensional vector is the input. The reason is, how many variables if I are given here as the input. Say if I are given 3 inputs here, then the same 3 inputs needs to be supplied here. The matrix format has to be of that dimension. The dimension has to be same. Whatever the input dimension, the same dimension has to be present in this predict input as well. So here I am giving the same input. Whatever input I gave for model building step, the same input is what I am giving for prediction also. Then I should expect the same value, right? If I am going to give certain inputs for building the equation, the same number of inputs is what I am going to give here, and I am going to perform a predicted output. Okay, so once I execute this, selecting these 2 lines and executing this would have resulted in a prediction output. This prediction dot correlation with the actual values. So here I am going to correlate and observe. These steps are useful for validating the built model, how good my model is. That is the reason we are doing these steps. So here I am again finding the relationship between the predicted values and actual values. If my predicted and actual values are perfectly correlated, then the value is expected to be 1. It is not 1, it is only positive and near to perfect positive correlation. And obviously any model that we build cannot be an ideal, cannot become an ideal model. It can only be an approximation, and that is reflected here. Next, I am going to plot my actual data and the predicted data. So that is what this particular 3 lines does. So the green points are the actual data and the blue line is the predicted data. So it is quite visible, since this is a simple linear regression which is going to represent a straight line. All the predicted data for every point are on a straight line. So that is why our predicted data has come on the straight and we have printed in the blue line. So this green and blue regressor line are plotted by this equation. So if you see here, WCAT waste predicted data color blue. Again, in the previous case, plot dot scatter, X is waste, Y is AT color green, and X label waste, Y label tissue is being given as inputs. Finally, plot dot show command. So this is a graph has to be built using matplotlib library. Okay, so what we saw is just an example for simple linear regression, and we can try to improvise this simple linear regression by changing the input values. For example, here to improvise this model, we are going to convert our waste values, which are linear values, into a log format values. So I am converting np.log in waste of np.log. So this would have converted all my inputs into a log scale. The reason why I am converting this into a log scale is now my data will not be modeled using a straight line. This will be modeled using a log function. So that is the reason here np.log is being used, and I am giving the same OLS function. I am going to make use of the same OLS method and predicting the model 2 dot predicting the model. So this is going to contain certain params, certain summary. This is not going to change, means the contents in this are not going to change. This is going to give the coefficients and other R squared RMSE parameters. Okay, we'll plot the difference and see it in just a minute. And finally, to predict the values, model 2 dot predict the input values of phase. This is going to return the AT values, and we can use prediction 2 dot correlation with the AT. So AT is the adipose tissue. Once I'm going to build the correlation, this is going to result me in certain values. So let's execute till this point as of now. Once I execute it, this has given me the model parameters and summary. Let me see how much is the correlation value. This is 0.82, slightly higher than the previous model, not much differed. And to see how the graph looks, let's plot a scatter plot and the plot of predicted line in blue form, similar to the previous step. So if we observe here, the blue is no more a straight line but a little bit curved line, because the log function can take a curvature, not a straight line equation. Since we considered a log format of input, and we are going ahead with predicting a log function also. So this is how it is differing, but it has not reduced error to a greater extent. The errors are only the errors have got reduced only little bit. How am I saying? I can say this from the summary plot, summary output. If we check the summary and if we go and read the R squared value, it is still 0.6 only. It has not got reduced. Still it is 0.6, which is of same value when compared to the previous model. Okay, so one thing, we converted into a log format and followed the same steps. Okay. The next model what we can evaluate is an exponential transformation. So here in this case, to convert into an exponential transformation, we are going to convert the output into a log format. The input is going to be on the linear scale, whereas the output is going to be converted into a log scale. Okay. Once the output is converted to log scale, we are giving the same input to the OLS method, build the model, check its parameters and summary. So here, when I am going to check the summary again, let me see what is the RMSE value has resulted this time. Okay, the adjusted R squared has even went higher this time. It is 0.7 right now. We will predict and plot the scatter plot to see how this values are. Okay. So now the exponential function has become a upper curve. This is the exponential function that has resulted it, but the error is still higher. It is not mapped correctly because there is the distances between the between these areas have increased now. Because of this, the error has also got increased. So that is a rough intuition by observing the predicted and actual values. But to get this plot, we have to do some other transformation. We'll just see and understand what are those transformation. The first thing, model 3 dot predict is going to give me a form of log values. These are not going to be the values in same scale. So scale meaning adipose tissue AT values will be of some scale in hundreds, but log values will be in decimal. So when I am going to predict these log values, again my output is going to be in the form of log nature. To reverse it and convert it into the original format, I have to use the exponential function. So np.exponential function, this predicted log values, this is going to give me my actual values in the same scale as AT, which is the original input that is supplied to the equation. Okay, only for this predicted values I have plotted this scatter plot and observe the value. Okay, so this is the exponential transformation method what we just observed. So these are different regression model. So three different models we saw. The first one is the straightforward regression model. We did not change we did not transform the inputs or outputs. The second is the log transformation, where we transform the input into log format. The third is the exponential transformation, where we transform the output into exponential function, output into log format, and the predicted log format has to be converted into original value by taking this exponential function. Okay, so these are the different methods that we saw in regression. Okay, so I am completing this lecture with this final model. Thank you.